Okay, now that I've got everyone's attention, I'm going to give you guys some really great news. Really fucking amazing. This is about the borderline personality disorder. And I love you guys for triggering me. In particular, it's you, Gray Matter, because that was really the first time I was triggered emotionally very deeply in a long time. And I was able to watch my processes and see, and also watching Otto Kernberg really set me straight. He talked about the diffuse personality. I already spoke about this, and I brought it to you guys' attention. And basically, how he was describing it was you have a libidinal self, you have a persecuted self. The persecuted self is developed first. As a baby, you're always told, no, 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 you can't do this, you shouldn't do this. You're getting angry, you're getting frustrated. That's your first identity. After that, you're told you're a good boy. Good boy did this. That's your libidinal self, your prosocial. Your childhood, your instinct is actually the antisocial self. That's why we say narcissists and psychopaths are so immature, because essentially that is the core, is all of us. At our core is a persecuted self. But then the healthier our parents and the healthier our upbringing, our childhood, we also develop this libidinal, pro-social, positive, pro-society, pro-pair bonding, family, all that whole thing, called that libidinal self. And in a healthy child, a healthy individual, those two selves during childhood become one personality structure. It's a healthy person, so that when they encounter love or violence, aggression, these instincts, or even external triggers, they're dealing with a single personality that is well equipped to deal with these kind of strong emotions, or conflicts, or dilemmas. Someone with a diffuse personality, we are either dealing with it one side or the other, so we don't have a complete view on things at the same time. Okay, that was mind-blowing when I finally internalized that, and I said, wow, that is exactly what I see. But I've been looking closer and trying to figure out how to solve it or cure it, and along the way I made it just the most horrific fucking discovery about my borderline. But it's funny, but it's not funny. I've never heard anyone say this. I probably did. People would probably notice this about their psychopaths and narcissists or borderlines. Okay, I don't think diffuse personality is anything really but a nice way of saying split personality. I've realized I have a split personality. I have one identity, right? Borderline does not have they have an unstable sense of identity, but they have an identity. It's one identity. It's unstable because it's connected to two branches of personality structure. The reason why I realize this is because I realized that when I'm okay, first of all, what I did was in trying to form some kind of self-therapy for myself, I said, okay, well, it's a split personality. Okay, I'll tell you why I realized that. Because when I'm in one, I can't access the memories or the motivations or the emotions. Really, it's the memories that made me realize, holy moly, it's different personality. It's different compartmentalization. What I go through is at night when I'm happy, libidinal self, working on projects and things or whatever, doing my stuff, having a certain drive, and then in the morning, in the daytime, if I'll get triggered, I'll catch myself in those moments, and I say to myself, okay, what was I thinking yesterday? What was I doing? What was I working on? And then I realize I can't remember. I can't remember. I know I was working on something. I know it was my libidinal positive self, but until I get back to that self, those memories are inaccessible. At the same time, when I'm feeling libidinal like I am now, feeling good, as you can tell, recording these videos and sharing, it'd be really hard for me to describe to you or write down or talk to myself about my violent, aggressive inner world and fantasies. I know it involves revenge, but it's really detailed when I'm there. it's just vicious. It's like a psychopath, really. It wants to destroy. Really, it's a psychopath. But the big difference I see is that I notice that psychopaths, they go after the weak. It's frustrating to me because a psychopath could be very useful in society if they went after the politicians, if they went after, you know, the dictators. I mean, to me, they talk about psychopaths having no fear. I don't see it really. I can understand they have less fear, but they go after little girls, little boys, innocent. They rape teenage women. They even when they kill a man, it's always with a gunshot to the back of the head. That's why, on one level, the only psychopaths I kind of respect are terrorists, and not the ones who kill themselves, but the ones who try to pull off these great assassinations, not these mass terror attacks like 9/11. Although that was pretty cool. I have to say, I guess I admire terrorists. They're the only ones because they seem to plan. It's a scheme to get away from something to make a real difference, not to hurt a little girl or to rape little. That's just beyond my understanding of motivations. Well, that's what makes psychopaths really sick. Okay, but anyways, getting off the topic completely. Yeah, because so much that I actually forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, that side of me that exists, this terrorist that always wants to get politicians or the wealthy or Republicans. I mean, I don't know. It's just this crazy side to me. It's very rich, but it's not connected at all to this side, and I can't access any of that. I couldn't write about it. It doesn't. See what I'm trying to say? It's two different personalities. Um, and what that means. And this was really key. This is key. There's so many keys that I hope you listen to this all. I thought my entire life, until the last video I recorded, I still thought that I was, what do you call it, flipping. I was black and white thinking. You're splitting. I always thought I was splitting on something because it would trigger me to split. I will use the example of a girlfriend, a hypothetical girlfriend. I would suddenly feel like maybe she's not being faithful, right? I would see, well, she looked at me a certain way, or I caught her lying about something, and if she's lying about that, is she lying about something else? Does she really love me? Is this all a bait? I mean, all these thoughts would always go through my head. So although I was victimized often, I was never by cheating women. I never really was not suspicious. I have a paranoid personality. I go, well, that's borderline with a girlfriend. But I always blamed the girlfriend. I didn't blame the girlfriend, but I always tried to figure out what it is about the girlfriend. When the construction noise gets me angry, I would try to figure out how to stop the construction noise. Now I realize something. You may not understand this. I may have to say it 100 times, 100 ways. I'm not splitting on my girlfriend. I'm not splitting on my apartment when I love it one day and I hate it the next day. When I want to move and I say I want to live here the rest of my life. I'm not splitting on the thing. I am personally splitting something for whatever reason, and I can tell you it could be anything, including nutrients. And that is key why I've started to eat healthier. I've gone down to the shelter, the church that feeds me, because it's so much healthier than the food I cook. I was feeling a lot better when I was first homeless because I was eating there all day. So now I eat there all the time when I can, when I have time or wake up, and it's like I feel rich as hell because even when I was making six figures, I was always eating at restaurants, and you order like what, a salad and a steak at a restaurant and a Coke or a fry maybe. When I go to these places, they feed me 8 courses of home cooked food. I mean, it's government regulated. So I noticed it's even the nutrients, anything. Once I'm in that personality that I call Taz, I've named them Libby and Taz. Libby is my libidinal, libertine, liberal. She's for liberty, just the female side. And Taz is my Tasmanian devil, just the evil, crazy, borderline psychopath. I give it that name. Some girl gave me the name Tasmanian devil for that side. She said she was afraid of it when it came out. So if I'm in my Tasmanian personality, which you've only seen once, I can't access my positive emotions. It's not part of this personality structure. So everything looks bad to me. It's not the girlfriend, it's not the heat, it's me. Now, maybe that's obvious to people. Okay, if you don't have this cluster B. But it's more that, okay, let me try to put this again. Okay, yes, I always knew it was me. I always knew I had borderline, and it was my fault that I was freaking out at my girlfriend. But I still thought it was something in the girlfriend triggering me. So I tried to figure out my mind and my personality disorder based on information I was pulling in from the external world. That's what I'm trying to say. But now I realize, dude, you're pulling in information from the external world in one personality or the other. And when it's coming in, it's staying there. It's not going over. These two personality structures, Libby and Taz, before a few weeks ago, they had never communicated. I mean, they had tried, but they hadn't actually. I hadn't identified these two sides do not communicate. That when I'm angry, the thoughts, the emotions, the drives, the dreams, the love, the hate, the passions, it's not the same. I was raised with two different. They never merged. My parents never brought it together. They either treated us like we were gods because they had to show off for people, or they were just feeling good, or whatever. There was some kind of scam going on between them, and it was going well. Or they treated us like we were dirt and unwanted. So those two personalities never really merged as a single one. I can tell you now because I know when I feel persecuted by the heat. See, they talk about being persecuted by the heat. Anything persecutorial will put me in that state of mind, and that could be a lack of nutrients, too much heat, my neighbor making noise, a memory I had, anything will put me in that persecutorial state. I don't know how to flip back to the other one. I have not been able to figure it out, and I've been trying to communicate between them, and I can tell you guys it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I can barely do it. It's like I have a tree, but at the bottom there isn't one trunk. It's like a Y. So if it does reach, it's really too late in a way to like deal with it. If that makes any sense. Now I always take my borderline up to the level of psychopathy to try to figure out the borderline, because we use an extreme example to try to say, oh, how does this make sense? It makes total sense. Okay. The reason why I think right now that you can never cure a psychopath. Remember they say you can't cure. I mean, even Kernberg says when someone is an antisocial personality disorder, it's a 0%. And he explained why. He said, well, there's nowhere to reach. There's no superego to talk to, is the way he described it. The way I see it now is that if they have two sides, okay, my two sides obviously talk to some degree. I'm borderline. I'm telling you about both of them. So although they don't really share a memory bank, I can still conceptualize both. But I think if I had a more extreme case of personality disorder, which is cluster B, we'll say psychopath, those two sides would not be able to talk at all, or they would hate each other. It just wouldn't happen, right? Or just maybe one side didn't even exist. Maybe the libidinal side didn't exist. But in the end of the day, I think the libidinal side does exist in the psychopath. That's what I'm trying to say, even stronger, because it doesn't talk at all. Now this is what I'm getting at. Because they don't talk at all, the psychopath, the true psychopath, will seem absolutely more loving and caring and doting, and they will be, because they don't talk at all to their evil side. They're a persecuted monster. But when it flips back to the persecuted monster, they don't talk all to the libidinal side. So they'll fucking kill you even if they loved you, even if you're their kids and you're their wife. Someone like Chris Watts, I mean, he loved his family so much. He obviously took care of them his whole life. But then when he went into that persecuted fucking psychopathic, and he was not able, there was nothing pulling him back. He was purely this. He did the most evil thing possible. I could never do that because There's something bridging them. I don't know what it is. Or it could just be no. The psychopath does have a libidinal self. I keep thinking maybe he doesn't have. No. The way I see it, the more disordered they are, the bigger the why. And that's why when you bring a psychopath in for therapy, as I was trying to explain, a true psychopath, that's why they give him zero hope, because you're speaking to the libidinal side. So the libidinal side of the psychopath sitting there, he'll take it, he'll understand it, and he will agree with you. He will honestly say, that's why psychopaths are so fucking mind-blowingly, you can't understand them, the real psychopath. My ex-psychopath girlfriend, she was so doting and caring and always there for me and massages, and it was like I felt like a king. But she was planning on killing me, or she was gonna. It wasn't that she was planning on it, but the way she was doing to me, as I realized what these psychopaths do is they're seeing what they can continuously get out of you in terms of narcissistic supply. So as long as you're being nice to them or treating them well, then they're hopefully staying on the libidinal side. They'll never talk to their monster. But man, when they talk to their monster, you better not be around, because it's not like a borderline or even like a narcissist. A psychopath has no communication. So if you deal with a psychopath in therapy, you can cure him his libidinal good side. 100%. It's cured. Doesn't matter. It's not communicating at all with the other side. So when something triggers him or her back into their side, that therapy is no good whatsoever. With a narc and a psychopath, that they say they both have super egos, and I guess that means there's something bridging them. There's some hope. Sorry, a borderline and a narcissist, there's hope. With a psychopath, like, there's no hope, because I can see it now. Like my father, how did it make sense that he can be he's a pretty good guy, but at night come into our bed and try to have sex with this little infant? It's because these two sides were just not talking. That's why a psychopath in court will often have no emotion. Or they'll say, I don't know why I did it. Or they'll give you no reason. They won't even try to explain it. Because which side it's a split personality, guys. That's what I'm trying to say about this. I think all personality disorders are basically, personality disorder has come to me a nice way of saying a split personality. A diffused is, if you want to say it, because maybe some people have more than one. Maybe I have more than one. I realized that my programming personality, when I was working for 25 years every day, coding and thinking of new applications and a way to make money, and that personality structure has kind of died. My brother died. I kept it going for another 5 years, and when my parents, basically when I learned how to make money doing other ways and just learn how to survive, it's like I didn't need that personality structure anymore. So even when I program now, it's like I'm not the same guy doing it. That person was like driven by some kind of trauma. I was trying to program my way out of a box that my parents had put me in. Like an image box, It's like a military guy maybe who has his parents throw the military guilt on him. So I had this guilt. I had to be a successful businessman. So as soon as I gave up my family and all there, and I realized they were full of shit and the whole image was fake, it's like that whole personality structure kind of way. So maybe I had three, but I don't know. All I know is that it's a split personality. Okay, I was thinking about an avoidant personality, because that's what I find very interesting, because it's nothing like I really have. But when I was a teenager, I might have had it as a preteen. I didn't have it. When you're a preteen, you have a little bit of shyness, right? And I think that's what happens to a avoidant personality, is that they're split between their normal self and this shy, I guess, persecuted self. You see, their persecution was not perceived in a way that made them angry. It made them shy. They were introverted, perhaps. I was an introverted kid, actually, but maybe not genetically, right? No, I wasn't introverted. I was screaming as a baby, so I may have been introverted at school at the beginning, grade 1 or grade 2, but no, I was not introverted. What am I saying? By the time in I was only introverted in grade 1 in kindergarten, because I was not socialized. Now drugs, okay, and gambling, and overeating, and overspending, and all these things like cluster Bs. We'll speak about cluster Bs in particular, since that's what I am. So I should not try to project onto other clusters or even other personality disorders. Maybe I'm only speaking about borderline. So let's just stick to that, because borderlines have a problem with drugs and cutting and all these obsessions, and I have drugs. That's the one I like. Now, I have not done hard drugs in over a year, so I made a huge, I can't believe it, because I can do them at any time. It's not like I don't have access, but I don't have the urge, it seems. And I think I know why. Well, I'm going to tell you why. I figured it out, guys. What am I at? It's going to be a lot of videos today. The hell with it. I need to be heard. Okay, it comes down to the coffee. I'm addicted to weed. I'm addicted to coffee. A couple of nights ago. Now it's been probably about 10 nights. I've been trying to make these videos for days, but new things keep coming up, and then I say, well, why upload it? I have new ideas. I wanted a coffee. I didn't have any. And I said to myself, oh my God, I said, fuck. Dude, if you don't get a coffee, you're going to be fucking pissed off later on. You better get a coffee. And then I said, dude, man, you caught yourself. This is how I do my self-therapy, by watching my subconscious or preconscious thoughts. And I've been doing this for 3-4 years, and it's really, really fun. If it doesn't work for therapy, it's at least a hell of a lot of fun, because you learn about yourself. You learn about things that were right below they were right in you all along, and you never kind of noticed they were happening. Because I've said that many times. Oh, I better get weed or I'm going to get pissed off. So I said, wait a second. I better get coffee, or I'm going to be pissed off. What am I saying to myself? I'm not saying I need a coffee because I want to enjoy a coffee. I'm not saying I want a coffee because I want to stay awake all night working. That's how I got addicted originally. I need a coffee to stay awake. I'm now saying I need a coffee because I don't want to get pissed off. See, wait a second. It's not that I don't want to get pissed off. I don't want to go into the other personality. I'm afraid of my persecuted self. I don't have coffee. I get, how I feel when I don't have one of my weed or let's just use weed as an example. I start blaming the government for making it illegal. I blame my dealers for not being around and not being good businessmen, and not taking care of their clients properly, and not being smart about it. And this is why, I become like a total immature bitch, basically. That's my persecuted self. And all it takes, like I said, doesn't take anything except for, could be something nutritional or addiction wise. But the thing with the coffee is, I noticed I was afraid of the monster in me, right? I said, I don't want that to come out, so I'm going to get a coffee. It's only $2. It's a cheap price to pay. Does not have that creature. I'm thinking, well, maybe that's why borderlines, narcissists, psychopaths, generally cluster Bs, we do drugs and we have gambling problem. I don't have, there's all these other compulsions that people do. Is because maybe it's just to keep that monster at bay. If we have a personality disorder where we know, either consciously, unconsciously, preconsciously, that there's a fucking monster within us, and that this substance will keep it at bay and keep other people safe and keep us safe and just keep us quiet and keep us doing our regular thing and not, well, then we're going to do it. We're going to have quote unquote, a stronger addiction. When I realized that, I was like, that makes so much sense. That's why people I know who are well balanced, who I can identify as having good families, you just know the way they were raised, and I wish I can never explain it, how when someone is raised in a good family, but when you know them their whole life and they've turned into, well, you can just see they have complete personalities. Their aggressive side and their libidinal side are just mixed in. Okay, I'm gonna go off another tangent already. I don't even know what I was talking about, because it's more important than this. This is where it gets a problem. This is where the problem is, and this is going to explain psychopathy as well. Libidinal side, persecuted side, two personality structures, not communicating at all, not communicating very well. that means for me as a borderline is that when I'm feeling libido, I don't feel any aggression. I can't incorporate aggression. For that reason, I don't monetize my websites. When I'm feeling good, I give my money away. I'm overly generous. I don't want to work and deal with a boss. I can't integrate both sides very well unless I'm forced to. I'm forced because I have no money. I lose my income source. My business dries up, whatever it is. Well, then I will force myself into it, and it won't be, let's not talk about how it gets it, but I will do it. But my natural way, maybe everyone's like this, but to a lesser degree. But for me, when I'm in that relaxed state, I can't even play video games because that's too aggressive. You see what I mean? It's like when I'm feeling like an empath, it's 100% empath where I don't even make money. I don't take care of myself. It's just like very well. I just care more about. It's too much. It's too much. You see what I mean? And that's why a psychopath who remember they're aggressive. Psychopaths get what they want. They know how to be outgoing and charming. Wait a second, but these people also are parasitical. Who will sit on your couch for 2 years doing nothing? Who will sit in an office not doing any work? How do you? But they're aggressive. Like I mean, the two sides don't go together. Yeah, damn right they don't fucking go together because of psychopath has a split personality. See what I mean? Just like I do, but mine communicates a little bit, and that's why I'm here. I'm able to at least see it. Maybe because I had therapy since I'm my 20s, a million psychiatrists, and I've done a lot of psychedelics. I think helped in my teen years. A lot of LSD. I did it alone, thousands. Okay, did it all the time. So, so you see, that's the thing with a psychopath. Why we don't understand them. Why like 1 minute, why they're so different. I mean, even my ex, it didn't. They are the most. What's the word? The title? Puzzling people. I think Tom Sheridan used that. They are most puzzling because they are truly split personalities with one identity, just like myself. The drugs. I mean, I hope I've made myself clear. So here's the problem with trying to cure myself. I mean, trying to figure out, well, how could I bring these two personality structures together? And I keep coming up against a huge obstacle. It's the same obstacle basically that a psychopath has. Is that when I'm thinking about that, I'm in one personality. I'm in my libidinal self. Or I'm feeling persecuted. And I'm thinking, how could I get out of this stupid fucking personality disorder? But they're not the same self. So I'm only talking to oneself. So no matter how much I cure one side or the other, they're still not going to communicate. So that's basically still borderline. If I can nurture both sides to where they can see the same thing, maybe. I mean, I don't know. All I know is that every time I try to do it, and I think, is this working? I think, no, it's not working, man. You're in one brain. How can it work? You can't work. It's you see the dilemma. I mean, the only way I think it could work with a borderline and with a narcissist, because the narcissist first has to drop their false image, but once they get down to therapy, I guess they've dropped their false image, or they're on their way. They're going to become a borderline, according to Otto Kernberg, which makes sense, guys, because I'm telling you, my mother was a borderline until she developed that false ego. I remember her when I was a baby. When I was a child, she was insane. And all of a sudden, when she inherited the money and everything, she became like Mrs. Like nothing could damage her. Nothing could hurt her. It was like very, very, but underneath there was always this simmering borderline. So the borderline is a narcissist without the false ego. So it makes them just as crazy, but they're not full of the manipulation and the lies. And like we really are the true damaged self. So this is the way I see it. Why am I always screaming as a borderline or a narcissist? Why do we scream, right? Why do we scream at each other, right? Yeah, at ourselves. Even a narcissist, I've heard a narcissist also has breakdowns, not as often, like with borderline, we're always breaking down, yelling at ourselves. But apparently, a narcissist happens occasionally when when they have a major narcissistic injury. Me, I've noticed that narcissistic injuries, it's not the same thing. You can trigger me with my mother and things, but you can insult me or tell me, that's not gonna. My narcissism is not. Tell me I'm stupid. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I have a narcissistic false image. Just that I'm a split self between my libidinal and angry, persecuted self. Okay, but because I have some kind of super ego on the top, I'm always yelling. A narcissist has a super ego apparently, so they're always yelling. Unlike the antisocial, they don't have it, so they never yell at themselves. They don't really yell, right? They're different. A psychopath is quiet, right? This is why I realize something. This is something, yeah, it's very hard to conceptualize, but if you think about electricity, two sides of an electrical current, if they're closer together, we're thinking, okay, there's going to be a stronger current going through. Right? The current's going to be stronger. They're connected. That's the way we usually think of connection and signal. Okay, that closer they are together, the stronger it is. But we have to reverse that when it comes to the mind and with a split personality. Because in this case, if our personality is fused like a normal human, healthy human being, neurotypical, they don't have to scream. The signal is quiet. They're calm people. If you have a split personality, your libidinal, loving, beautiful little sweet self here, and your angry son of a bitch motherfucking killer over here. Well, when there's a frustration, one side has to yell through the superego to get to the other. In other words, the further they are apart, the stronger the signal has to be. At least by an intermediary. You see what I mean? So I was going, no wonder I'm always screaming. And no wonder I'm always like, dude, you fucked up. Because I'm trying to reach that other personality and saying, dude, you fucked up. But it's like, now that I identify them as two different individuals, Livy and Taz, I've been trying to work with this concept in my mind to come up with some kind of therapy that works. Along the way, I've noticed that just thinking this way works a lot. Just knowing it. It's a little bit like my parents and understanding their backstory and understanding narcissistic personality disorder made it much better, but it didn't completely get rid of the trauma or the effects of PTSD. It just lessened the blow. Same thing with this. Since I've realized, okay, I have two personalities. It's a split personality. That's what I keep during the day when I'm going through the day. I'm often like catching myself saying, dude, fuck this diffused personality. Say it the way it is, man. It's a split personality. You're not yourself. You were someone else 10 minutes ago, and you'll be him again in 20 minutes. And as you're speaking, oh, you're coming back to him. Or, wait, I am him. What was I just there? What was I angry about? That happens too. Not only do I wake up angry and forget about my good plans the day before, what will happen is that I'll be really pissed off. This was a few times I said, this is crazy. This is crazy. There was one time I'll never forget. I went to the photocopy place and the machine was not working. And I stormed out of there angry, and I was fucking just, nothing works. Technology is so fucking unreliable in all my life, and no wonder I was so miserable as a programmer, and what the hell, this world is falling apart with their stupid cell phones. And then I'm walking to the other photocopy machine. I think it's not going to work, and even my USB chip is going to, and I get there and it works. And then I'm walking away and I'm thinking, what was I so angry about? Like, what was I just yelling about? I couldn't remember that it was the photocopy machine. I couldn't remember the other photocopy machine didn't work. And that I was yelling about technology and the way the whole world. It took me a long time. I was like, dude, this is crazy. That's when I said, this is a split personality. I said, you were just raging for 15, 20 minutes on this one topic for this one reason. What was it? Luckily, I had the fucking photocopies in my hand. So they would say, oh yeah, it was the photocopies. Oh yeah. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. I never noticed. But I'm sure a lot of people noticed to me. They can say, they've said, dude, 1 minute you're normal, 1 minute you're crazy. Because I have the same identity, you wouldn't think it's a split personality. maybe if I was a smart enough, wise enough child, or I had a parent who was a psychologist who explained it to me, or I read a book, or I was on the internet at 5 years old, and I gave my two sides names like I just did now, Libby and Taz, maybe I would have internalized that and developed true split personality. Possible. Maybe that's how it happens. I think I said everything, guys. It's been really heavy, but that was really great. I'm really happy I figured this out because I've never heard it described this way. If you look at all the symptoms of borderline personality disorder, you will see it all comes down to feeling persecuted, fear of abandonment, or it all comes down to a split personality between persecuted and loving. I don't need to go through it. You can do it yourself. I'd love to hear your comments. I don't want to hear your comments on my other video really about my parents. I like to leave that alone. And I don't want to deal with a whole bunch of conspiracy people. But on this video, I wouldn't mind hearing from people with borderline to at least watch your thoughts. And maybe you can, does it feel like a split personality to you? Because it definitely feels like split personality to me. And it just makes sense, guys. That's when I look at the psychopath, that's when I go, that makes sense. That's why you can't cure these people. You're dealing with one side of the fucking personality, so you can cure it where it's an angel. It doesn't matter. It doesn't access the other side. It's a split personality.